What's that sound? It's For Amusement Only, the EM and Bingo Pinball Podcast. Welcome back to For Amusement Only. This is Nick Baldridge. A lot of stuff's been happening in my EM world here, so I wanted to catch you all up on my recent trip to Ohio. And I got a chance to play some games that I hadn't played before, and I just wanted to talk briefly about some of them. Some of the features, which I was either wrong about, or I just wanted to clarify a bit about how powerful and useful these features were. So the first one that springs to mind is Palm Springs. Palm Springs was the first game that had the hold feature that allows you to return either the even or the odd balls at the end of the game. So after you shoot 5 balls, you have to make a choice. Do you want to keep all the balls as they are and get your winner if you've got one? Or do you want to return all the even-numbered balls or all the odd-numbered balls? What's kind of cool about this feature is if you press the button down a normal amount, like you would expect to press in order for the machine to do something, it will indicate to you on the back glass that the odd numbers or the even numbers will go away. And then you have to apply much more force in order to make the machine actually return the balls. The beautiful thing about this feature is that it allows you to essentially shoot an entire second game. It gives you the chance to redo a whole bunch of bad playing, and it's pretty great. So, with the super cards that this game has and the spotted numbers, I mean, this is a sensational game. It's really quite good. So, moving on, I played another Sun Valley, and this is a different Sun Valley than the one I had played previously, and this one kicked my butt pretty badly. I mean, I could not put together a winner. I think I won 8 credits on it and spent a whole heck of a lot. Doesn't diminish my enthusiasm, though. So moving on, I played a County Fair. County Fair is a beautiful game. I love the art package on it. It's a Magic Screen game without pick-a-play, and so there's only a red button, which means that for each coin that you put in, you're going to get a random jump in either features, odds, or both. And I had not previously played a Magic Screen game without pick-a-play, so this was an interesting experience. And the example that I played had just a gorgeous backglass. I mean, it was perfect. And the game itself is very fun, as you might imagine. So, moving on, we've got Cypress Gardens. I was very excited to try Cypress Gardens because that's one of the games with Stop and Shop. Now, in that game, you have magic squares, but they're all arranged, clustered right beside each other. So you have, instead of the quadrants at the corners of the bingo card, you have A, B, C, and D, and it's the 4 quadrants which are directly beside each other. The right-hand column doesn't move at all, and then the bottom row, up until the last number, actually rotates around on a chain. And so this is similar to Sun Valley except for the magic line F. So the beautiful thing about Cypress Gardens is not only all the moving numbers features, but the ability to stop and shop. And that feature, I got to make a jump one time. I didn't spend an awful lot of coins on it, because as I was told by Jeffrey Lawton and by Robert Madel, the feature doesn't jump all that frequently. So once you're in the middle of the game, of course, the game knows, and it restricts that down. So you're much less likely to actually get an odds jump in the middle of the game, which makes sense. On top of that, with triple deck scoring, the biggest problem with Stop and Shop is that you're going to get a random jump in the odds only, but you don't know which kind of jump you're going to get, even if you are awarded a jump. So that's kind of tricky. Moving on, Golden Gate. I've played a lot of Golden Gate. This one was no exception. Very fun. Got a golden game. Had a very dramatic game playing through. Managed to completely miss winning my golden game, which I was very excited about. And then Robert played and managed to get his golden game. No trouble at all. And that's how it goes. So, moving on, there was a Circus Queen. And Circus Queen had a beautiful backglass as well. That's another beautiful art package. Magic screen game. And then Ballerina. So Ballerina I had not played previously. And this is the only machine with the 1 to 7, 7 to 1 feature. And this allows you to play the first row of numbers either straight or actually flip them. But it doesn't do them physically like on, say, Gay Time or Gaiety with the Magic Pockets. This allows you to do it in... So say you make the number 2 and you have that feature lit, you press 7 to 1, and suddenly your 2 becomes a 6. Now this can be powerful, especially if you've got the super sections lit and the magic screen going. But the bad news is that it required me to think quite a bit more about every shot than any shot I had previously made. So that feature felt a little too complicated to my meager brain, but it is a very fun game, and I do like that feature. It's just difficult for me to use in practice, but that's just me. So Touchdown was also there, and that was the first time I'd played a Magic Numbers game. Touchdown has groups of 6 numbers that rotate around, 4 groups of 6. So that's 24 numbers for those of you counting, and that leaves the center number immobile. Well, the biggest problem that I saw with Touchdown is that it has triple deck scoring, but almost every combination that you can make normally is in the green. Well, for those of you who've played a red letter game, you know that the green odds don't step very easily. Touchdown also seemed to have the same issue, even though it wasn't a red letter game. So, you know, you might have your yellow or red odds way up, but your ability to make a yellow or red winner is actually very limited, and you have to be really good at making numbers, which of course I am not. So, moving on, there was Key West. Key West is a really cool Magic Squares game. You've got your typical corners placement of the Magic Squares, so each of the 4 corners will rotate, but this is the only game with select a score. And there are 2 buttons on the foot rail. You can either play normally, or you can swap your yellow and red odds. And so, with the scores swapped, there's an indication on the backglass, but it doesn't actually change, of course, the position of the steppers for the yellow and red odds. So that actually worked to my advantage one time, believe it or not. I won an extra 4 replays, I think, using that select a score. But that's 4 replays I wouldn't have had otherwise, so it wasn't all bad. I believe Robert made corners on that game, which was cool to see. I think that's how we ended the first night there. One other game was Variety. And Variety is the first moving numbers game. That one has magic lines. The first 3 columns will move up or down 1 position. And Jeffrey managed to make a 5 in a line on that game. And that was really cool to see. He also made a really neat pattern on the super card. So the next night, we played some more bingos. This time we played Showtime. And Showtime was set up very steeply. It was actually really hard to make a number. But that game's another Magic Squares game with triple deck scoring. No select to score, so you have to make your numbers. Played a different Key West, and played a Surf Club. Now, Surf Club is the second game with that hold feature, like on Palm Springs. Now, on Surf Club, the deal is that you can actually hold twice. So you can hold once, and then shoot your balls again, realize that you're terrible, and then dump them again. So it's pretty rare for that machine to light the double hold feature. You're more likely to get the single hold, which works exactly as it does in Palm Springs. Now, the other feature of that game is the spotted numbers, just like on Palm Springs, but the difference is that you can select any group of 3 to be your super line, and these will score differently. And one of the players there that night was able to make a super line hit. That was really cool to see. Of course, it wasn't me, as you might be hearing a pattern. But aside from that, let's see, what else did we play? Played a Gottlieb contest, and that is a really fun flipper machine. You've got a roto target, which your goal is to try to maximize your multiplier off the roto target and then collect. But there are safe ways to collect and dangerous ways to collect. And there are a couple gobble holes on the playfield. It was a beautiful example, and it was very, very fun. Let's see. Oh, this is kind of funny. I played a Captain Fantastic. That was actually the first time I've played that game, believe it or not. And it's a fun game. I was pretty impressed. It's all about, like most of those later 70s EMs, racking up your bonus to the highest amount and doing that in the safest way possible. Yacht Club. I played a Yacht Club, and this is the first time that I've played that game. On my episode about Yacht Club, I mentioned that there is essentially a screen in front that allows you to select the bingo card. Yacht Club is the only game that shows all 5 potential positions of a bingo card all at once and allows you to select between them using a dial on the front of the cab. Well, I mentioned that it's some kind of plastic sheet and that it's always present, but the truth is that it's actually 2 illuminated strips. And so, as Jeffrey mentioned in our interview while I was up in Ohio, the lights, if they were out or malfunctioning, would make it so you had absolutely no idea what card you were on, what you were actually playing for. You would have to go based off of the numbers as they illuminated, which would be pretty difficult. So, that game, though, is very fun. The biggest problem that I had with Yacht Club was in kind of conceptualizing the diagonals. So, if you look at Yacht Club and the back glass, you'll notice that the diagonal numbers are not connected by a line. And I didn't realize how very important that was to me until I didn't have it. So I think that is pretty interesting. But that select a card is really cool, and I still think, it's kind of like a proto-Magic screen, allowing you to change your card at will. Very neat. So while I was up there, Robert and I spent some time and got a Miss America 57 up and running, and that was the first Miss America game that I had played. I was very impressed with the gameplay on that one. I didn't get a whole lot of time in on it, but I will say that I still think the repositionable numbers that allow you to put more than one number on a single card is fantastic. Also, having 2 cards is always better, especially because you can reposition potentially every number on both cards. This allows for some crazy good gameplay and the ability to win quite a bit. So, all that said, that's going to do it for tonight. Tomorrow I'll have a couple more anecdotes from my trip, and then we'll be on to a couple flipper topics. Thank you very much for listening. My name again is Nick Baldridge. You can reach me at foramusementonlypodcast@gmail.com, or you can call me on the Bingos line. That's 724-BINGOS1, 724-246-4671. You can listen to us on iTunes, Stitcher, Pocket Casts, via RSS, on Facebook, on Twitter at Bingo Podcast. You can follow me on Instagram, also at Bingo Podcast, or you can listen to us on our website, which is foramusementonly.libsyn.com. Thank you very much for listening, and I'll talk to you next time.